Oh, I do want to preface we have a good, impactful episode for y'all as usual, but the sun is starting to set and we got melanated skin. So we want to make sure that we can get this episode in before the darkness comes. All right. But you said you were happy to be here, and I'm glad you said that exact sentence. We didn't rehearse this at all, but the theme for today, the topic is the pursuit of happiness. Yes, not vocals.
'Cause I'm happy.
If you feel like
what does he say there?
No one knows. Pharrell doesn't know what he says there. But again, we're gonna talk about pursuit of happiness. Some paradoxes that may be in the pursuit, or as you're trying to get it. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. All right, it's
oh yeah, right. Yeah, come on,
pull me back out. All right, but we're gonna talk about it. Some good stuff. Stay tuned. Get your notes. Make sure you like and share. We appreciate y'all. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, we're out.
All right, folks, make sure you grab something to drink too. We are sipping on Harmless Harvest, one of the, to me, the best coconut water ever.
They cool.
Look, but let me just brag on them real quick. First of all, they're not sponsoring us yet, but I'm manifesting this today here right now.
Yes, ma'am.
We were literally talking about this before the podcast started. It is so far the only coconut water, I'm not saying they're the only one that I have seen where if you look on the ingredients, it's only organic coconut water. Just saying.
That's it.
That's it. That's all it should be. But for a lot of other coconut waters, you look and there's like 12 ingredients. It's like, I just want coconut water, and this is good stuff.
Boom. So if y'all got other coconut waters or other like really healthy drinks that y'all think we should be rocking with, leave a comment, tag them, put it in the chat, whatever it is. That way we can diversify our palettes of amazing organic drinks. Substances?
Beverages.
Oh, all right, but let's dive into it. Today we're talking about happiness. And before we go into kind of the research and science, go to just talk about, do you think, why am I looking over there? Sinclair, do you think happiness is a choice?
I do think that happiness is a choice.
Okay. How do you choose happiness on a daily, on a weekly basis? What is that?
Before we even get into happiness, we're talking about happiness. What is happiness?
Okay, I got the exact definition here.
Do you?
All right. Let me see. The state. So happiness. It's gonna be levels here. Happiness is the state of being happy.
Why do they always do that?
I hate when they do that, but I don't have time to get into it. I hate when they do that. Now, the definition of happy: feeling or showing pleasure or contentment, having a sense of confidence in or satisfaction with, satisfied with the quality or standard of. All right. So again, I just want to read one more time. Having a sense of confidence in or satisfaction with. For me, I feel like it's interesting because when I think of happiness, I feel like it's an ideal, right? I think of happiness as way more than just content and satisfied, right? Satisfied seems like, that's cool, but it could have been better. I feel like there's nothing better than happy, at least how I'm like raised to see happiness. It's like, how are you? I'm happy, maybe ecstatic, but even I feel like ecstatic
that's the word that came to mind.
I feel like ecstatic is more like energized, excited,
yeah.
But I don't know. I just always felt like happy was like it. Like you want to strive to be happy in life, but then when you look at the definition, happy is really just contentment. Happy is really average. It's in the middle.
Right.
I feel like that was interesting to me.
Yeah, I feel like colloquially. Does that make sense?
That is a word.
Okay. I wanted to know if it made sense in this context. I believe colloquially we use happiness, like we put a higher like meaning to it than the textbook.
Right.
So I feel like there's probably a lot more people who are technically happy but they probably wouldn't like express that or say like I'm happy right now. If that makes sense.
It does. I mean, we see. Are we gonna get into it? So I feel like we in 2021 and probably since 1920s, to be honest, in history, we place our happiness and even our self-worth on the external values that we're able to get.
We do talk about that,
We do talk about this later.
but you can dive in now. We can recap later on.
Okay, but so like when we think about happiness, it's I want the house, I want the amazing job, I want the beautiful melanated curly haired wife, I want all these things, and that's what's going to
It's not a
make
bad one.
me stop. And that's what's going to make me happy. But again, I feel like I reference monks a lot. I don't know why.
Do you secretly want to be a monk
Maybe,
tomorrow?
maybe there's this like a part of me
Yeah,
that's like
something we need to talk about.
that lifestyle.
Mm.
I don't want to be a monk because they don't get GMGs. But I feel like monks and a lot of people in other like parts of the world, I would assume, are happy without the American material pursuits.
Right.
And I feel like that's why for us we see high rates of heart disease, high blood pressure, stress, anxiety, depression in America because America puts such a huge value on those material things that we don't need,
Need,
right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
don't need those to be happy. We don't need a mansion, we don't need a Bentley, we don't need Gucci drip down to my socks with my red bottoms and all that cool stuff that you hear in music videos. Like we don't need those things to be healthy or to be happy, but I feel like we pursue them for happiness, and if we
Right.
don't have them, we're not happy.
Yeah. And I feel like even as society continues to go, the idea of what you need to be happy continues to grow as well. So if
Mm,
you think about it, I learned this from you, I'm pretty sure. Like even the idea of like owning a home or living in a house with like the white picket fence or whatever, like that was only attainable for certain individuals, right?
mm,
That suburbs were built for veterans, correct?
right.
Yeah. Okay, learned that from him. See, I remember some things.
That's in LA specifically, but yes.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah, like that wasn't even always attainable for everybody. But that's like now the one of the things that a lot of people, not everybody,
Mm,
but a lot of people think as something I need, when I have a family to be happy. So I think that's interesting too. That I feel like the threshold just continues to get higher and higher as
right.
technological advances go. As yeah, just we start to get a little bit more greedy. Yeah,
Agreed. So we kind of already fell into the rabbit hole of mindset.
we did.
So do you mind if we shift into like just fully dive in to mindset?
Let's do it.
All right. So Queen, in your opinion, that was a deep sigh. You okay? You ready? You got
Yeah,
this?
I was preparing to
To drop these nuggets.
nuggets, gems.
Ooh,
Mm.
organic gems.
Ding.
Oh, but to drop the nuggets on why mindset is important.
Yeah, so when I think happiness can be seen almost as a mindset.
Mm,
You talked about like an ideal, but I guess where I like to and kind of what I'm trying to um ingrain within myself is that happiness, it's not like a destination, right? So even when you think about the title Pursuit of Happiness, it's the pursuit is a journey, right?
mm.
The journey or of happiness.
First of all, you can finish this really quickly, but Jair, if you have that picture that was of me, Sinclair, and a surprise individual. If you can put that picture up, it should have been right after the intro. There's a picture there. Put it up when you can. Go ahead and finish the story.
um yeah, I think that I think happiness is a mindset, and I think that we kind of got into this earlier, but I think it's something that you choose. I'm going to choose to be happy rather than, I feel like for a lot of folks the mindset is I have to do this, I have to attain this, and
Mm,
then like almost like happiness will fall upon me,
mm,
rather than like it's like think like it's an action. It's something you have to actively cultivate
mm.
within yourself. And I
Within yourself is that I think that key piece.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I think that there are certain mindsets that are more likely to cultivate happiness than others.
Mm,
So we do have a graphic with the mindsets that cultivate. Oh, there! Hey, there's the picture.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know who this person is, and if you're watching on YouTube, you see it. If you're listening on the podcast, we appreciate y'all. We'll try to narrate it, and feel free to go over to YouTube. But we were in Tulsa for the 100th commemoration of Tulsa's massacre, and we got to see the last live
That's
speech
crazy.
that Chris Gardner will ever do. And this is the person whose life Pursuit of Happiness was built after. We got a signed book by him as well. And he was exiting, he was leaving. I kind of snuck over there. The queen was like, "Oh, picture for sure." Da, da,
I was having a full-on conversation. I did
da.
my spidey senses were
Oh
tingling.
yeah. It was a good little moment. I got in there and he was like, "Oh, it's just us." I was like, "No, the queen's there too." She's like, "Oh, let's put beautiful in the middle." I was like, "Yep."
That's what he's
And
laughing
then boom, got that beautiful moment, and my dad's there
in the
in the
back.
background, slightly blurred out. But continue on Pursuit of Happiness. We just wanted to show that cool little moment that we got to literally be connected to the person who created
The
the
pursuit of
meaning of
happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness, right?
Definitely, that was dope.
Yeah.
But we do have a graphic on the mindsets that cultivate happiness.
Cultivate, cultivate.
Okay, mindsets that
Listen, this is what happens when we do podcasts
at
at
night.
7 p.m.
Yes, mindsets that can influence happiness.
Yes, ma'am.
So I feel like the first one that comes to my mind is a growth versus fixed mindset.
Mhm.
So growth, we had a whole podcast. I don't know,
We
was
had a
it the whole
podcast on
podcast?
growth. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
a whole podcast on the growth mindset. So go check that out.
It was growth mindset slash turning your blessings into no,
Into
turning your losses into blessings, something like
something like that.
that.
So if you think about the difference between growth and fixed, we'll just briefly recap is the idea that you can literally grow, you
Yeah.
can change, you can evolve versus kind of like I am the way I am, then I'm not changing.
Right.
So like I feel like how that can influence happiness is I feel like it's probably easier to cultivate happiness with a growth mindset because if you feel like you're in lack, you are more likely to go out and get and get whatever you're missing. Whereas I feel like if you have a fixed mindset and you feel like you're in lack, you may kind of just sit in that like, dang,
Mm.
I'm not I'm not smart, I'm not beautiful, I'm not, and rather than trying to change your mindset, you may kind of sit in that a little bit.
Yeah, two really quick things is one, I feel like it's also who has the power. I
Mhm.
feel like in a growth mindset, you are taking control.
Yeah,
You are taking the power and agency in your life, and you're saying, "No, I may be in this situation right now, but I have the power, I have the intelligence, I have the network to get myself out of it."
right.
Whereas fixed, you're just like, "I don't have the power."
And you rely on others.
And you rely on
And
others
if they
to do
don't
it.
come through, again, that's where the relying on external factors, now
Yeah.
your happiness is in someone else's hands.
Yep.
And you can't control any of anybody else, right?
Right.
Another mindset is like the pessimistic versus optimistic.
Hmm.
And this is something that I struggle with sometimes too. I feel like honestly, and this is something he's Mr. Optimism, goodness gracious.
To a fault.
To a fault, sometimes.
To a fault.
Sometimes. But I do find that my natural tendency is usually to go to the negative first. And I commend myself because now I'm at least able to catch myself. I think before I would do it and I wouldn't even realize that I'm being pessimistic right now.
Mm.
So right, step one is awareness. So at least now I catch myself like, why did you go directly to the bad thing that could happen, the worst case scenario?
Mm.
And if you acknowledge that, then you can focus on you can tell yourself like, okay, let's focus on the positive here. So I feel like obviously I think happiness probably is more heavily cultivated in an optimistic point of view because you literally are looking
100%.
for good things.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for good things, the likeliness that you will feel more content, satisfied with your life, I think is higher.
Only thing I'll add is if you feel like you are a pessimist or you feel like you're a realist, right? I feel like there's a lot of people that say, and you
I
say
used
this
to
all the
say that,
time,
yeah.
"I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist." Hey, no judgment. All right, hey, to each his own. Do your thing. But when those thoughts do come up, just think about why do I think that?
Hmm.
Hmm. Like why? Like there's no way I'll be able to create a board game. Why do you think that? There's no way I can go back to school and get a PhD. Why? Why do you think that? There's no way that I can reverse my diabetes or that I can lose 20 pounds, whatever it is. Why do you have that realism or negative thought? Go ahead, Queen.
I feel like it's a like a protection mechanism because
Possibly.
if I don't accomplish that, I didn't really think I could anyways. So I don't feel too much disappointment. I feel like it's to avoid that disappointment. Whereas if I say, no, I can
Mm,
do this, and then you don't, now that disappointment weighs in like, oh shoot, I've failed.
mhm,
Right? You have to sit in that. Whereas yeah, if you're kind of like, it probably won't happen. I'll still like put some effort in, but it probably won't happen. Then I think the idea is that like if it doesn't happen, then I'm not too hurt about it.